Africa proverb says, in every age, even the one filled with flying cars and metal suns, a man still has only two choices: walk with truth or run with shadows. As the elders say, a friend who invites you to eat but hides the spoon is not your brother. And again, when the drumbeat changes, the dancer must change his steps or be left behind. This is the story of Thandiwe and Bongani. One danced to the rhythm of loyalty, the other to the tune of greed. Thandiwe arrived in the city with nothing but his bag, dreams, and trust in an old friend. The city was loud, fast, beautiful, but cold. Bongani had it all: tech, power, women, wealth, and he promised to show Thandiwe the way. But the path was darker than it looked. In the corners of the city, Bongani walked with shadows, hacking codes, selling digital weapons, and he wanted Thandiwe beside him. Thandiwe said no. He would work with his hands, build, fix, earn, not with stolen code or shortcuts whispered in alleyways. Honor, not hustle, would shape his path. For a while, Bongani smiled, but behind that smile, resentment brewed, thick and silent. He couldn't understand why Thandiwe clung to dignity when survival begged for compromise. Then came the night, the final argument. No words, no fists, just the slow, final sound of a door locking behind him. And then, silence. The streets welcomed Thandiwe like a stranger, with cold winds that bit at his skin and shadows that stretched too long. Machines beeped and blinked in alley corners, uncaring. Neon signs flickered above empty storefronts. The city had no warmth to offer a boy with pride and empty pockets. But where wires tangled and machines failed to heal, tradition stepped in. Mama Zanele, the old matriarch with eyes like embers and hands that smelled of earth and solder, opened her door. She was more than a neighbor. She was the keeper of stories and circuits, a bridge between ancestors and algorithms. To Thandiwe, she gave more than shelter. She gave him memory. She gave him code that told the truth. She reminded him that creation without soul is noise, but with heart, it becomes legacy. And so, in that small room lit by oil lamps and humming wires, Thandiwe began again, not just to survive, but to build. He learned, not just from textbooks or manuals, but from failure, hunger, and hard truths. He adapted, not by surrendering who he was, but by sharpening it. Every broken wire, every salvaged board, every late night spent rebuilding someone else's mistake became a lesson. But he didn't keep what he learned for himself. He gave back. He opened a place, a workshop, yes. But more than that, it wasn't just a place to fix machines. It became a space to mend spirits, a haven for the overlooked, a home for those trying to hold on to hope in a city that moves too fast, too loud, too cold. He taught the youth that creation can be resistance, that you don't need to steal to be powerful, and that sometimes the strongest code is the one written in integrity. But the city watches everything, and when you dance with shadows too long, they stop dancing and they start pulling. They wait for the slip, the mistake, the quiet moment when no one is looking. They swallowed many, and slowly, they came for him too. Now, his story isn't shouted. It's told in low tones, behind closed doors, in dusty backrooms. It's passed down in code snippets hidden deep in community-built software, and in whispered warnings from mentor to student. A man who never sold his soul, who chose honor even when it cost him everything else. And maybe, just maybe, that's the kind of story worth building from. Now his story is told in whispers and code, a man who held on to honor, even when everything else was stolen. A statue of Thandiwe stands proud, robe flowing, holding a solar drum, eyes cast toward the sun. Children sit cross-legged beneath a digital storytelling tree. A hologram of Thandiwe projects from the tree's branches, animated in life, sharing his teachings, his journey, and his resistance. He speaks of choices, of honor, of betrayal. He never says Bongani's name, but the pain is in his pauses. Just behind the park, hidden in the shadows of a broken building, an older Bongani watches silently. He's out of prison, aged, discarded by the system he once ruled. His once stylish suit is now dull and frayed. He's leaning on a rusty cyber cane, half cybernetic from injuries in prison. His eyes are empty but fixed on the statue. He tries to walk forward, but the security drones nearby scan his ID and freeze him in place with red beams. He isn't allowed into the teaching area. Even in freedom, some are never free, and some legacies can't be rewritten, no matter how loudly the silence begs for redemption. Time doesn't heal all wounds. Some are buried, not in the past, but in silence, hidden beneath layers of fear, shame, and forgetting, until one voice dares to break through. She was only 12, but within her, a fire that many grown hearts had long extinguished. Not loud, not angry, just brave. And in her hands, something simple, a gift, not wrapped in paper, but in hope. It wasn't just a gesture, it was a second chance for someone forgotten to be remembered, for a closed door to open, because sometimes it takes the smallest voice to shake the silence. As Nandi walks away, the city lights shimmer in the puddles, rippling like memories that won't quite stay still. Behind Bongani, a mural begins to glow, not with neon or screens, but with meaning. Two young boys, Thandiwe and Bongani, frozen in time, laughing as they build a drum together from scraps and dreams. It's not just paint, it's a memory, a moment carved not into stone, but into spirit. Some legacies are etched in monuments, names on plaques, cold and untouched, but others, they're passed from hand to hand, from heart to heart, quietly, persistently, like rhythm passed through skin to skin on that same drum. And even in a world ruled by machines, memory still breathes, not through code, but through people who choose to remember Sem and choose to carry it forward.